Hey everyone, this is Marathon Hurtler here, and I'd like to welcome you to my first Let's Play project, Final Fantasy VIII. And so let's just go ahead and jump right into a new game here. Now, something that I mentioned in my introduction video, and some of you may not have seen that, but something that I mentioned there is that on occasion I may choose to mute a track in a game or a cutscene if I feel like it might be problematic and cause issues when I try to upload it to YouTube. And so this is one of those tracks. I don't think that this is a track that is particularly problematic. I think there's a later track that causes more issues with all the YouTube and copyright issues, but I figured I just wanted to play it safe, and this is an old enough game to where most people who are watching this have probably seen this cutscene anyway, and so I figured I would just use this time as a chance to talk a little bit about what I plan to do with this project. And so I'm considering this to be a max stats run for Final Fantasy VIII. And what I mean by max stats is my goal is to max out the 5 base statistics, which are, or what I'm considering the base statistics, HP, strength, vitality, magic, and spirit. And I'm going to do this while only using junctions, or that is magic junction to my statistics, and character abilities. And so this means there are a couple of things that this means. First, I won't be using the Devour ability to boost my stats, and I won't be refining stat up ability or stat up items to boost my stats. And so, if you follow this guide, you won't need to do any of that. If you want to, you can, but the goal of this guide is to show people how to do that without needing to use any of those items or that ability, the Devour ability. The second goal with this guide is to show people as many ways as possible to be able to accomplish max stats while playing to your own personal playstyle. So if you're someone who just wants to speed through the game, do minimal side quests, I'll be explaining throughout the game. I won't necessarily show all of it, but I'll be explaining throughout the game how you can do that, how you can basically avoid doing any side quest or minimal side quest and still max out all 5 of those base statistics. In addition, if you are someone who doesn't want to farm certain items, specifically Rosetta Stones, and for those of you who play Final Fantasy VIII, you know what I'm talking about, you will be able to achieve max stats without doing so. However, if you are someone who does enjoy side quests or doesn't mind doing some farming, I'll be showing you how you can do that efficiently, and in the meantime, or in addition to that, I will also be showing you how you can use that to make your characters even more powerful. But if you only want to get max stats and HP, strength, vitality, magic, and spirit, this guide will show you how to do that while doing minimal side work. So yeah, I think that's really about it, and it looks like the timing is working out pretty well here because this cutscene is just about ending. But if that sounds interesting to you, then I invite you to join me on my first Let's Play project, Final Fantasy VIII. Alright, so now this cutscene is ending. I'm going to go ahead and turn the game volume up just a little bit here. Now, something that I had an issue with my previous Let's Play video, or my first introduction video, was the gameplay was a little bit loud relative to the commentary. And so I'm hoping that I've adjusted that a bit here, but it may still be a little bit off, and if so, then I'll continue to adjust it in the future, but hopefully this balance is a little bit better, and I guess this is just part of the process of, starting to do these types of videos. This is one of those things that I'm going to have to learn as I'm going along, but hopefully the balance will be a little bit better here, and we'll kind of see how that goes. But we have an opportunity to name our main character here, and I'm not the creative type, so we're just going to go with the default name, which is Squall. And apparently that intense battle that we were witnessing just a second ago was nothing more than a training battle, and apparently Cypher didn't take it as if it were just a training battle. And I don't know if I want that in a training partner. If we're going to be going into battle and practicing our battle skills, I don't know if I want someone who's going to be trying to kill me. I guess it'd be good if you really want to build your skills. I mean, no better way than to have someone who just is going to go all out at you. But I mean, if he ends up injuring me, that just I don't know. That doesn't seem like it would. It seems like a greater risk than I'm willing to take. So, but Squall seems like he's okay with that. I mean, he's trying to be the tough guy here, so he's just gonna keep going with it, I guess. But since we're in school, I suppose they're not going to call our parents. Instead, they're going to call our teachers. So, and our teacher's name is Quistis, and apparently we're okay, but we're going to have a scar, and that's about it. And that might explain the scar we saw in the introduction scene. That's probably what we got there. But we have a visitor. Is that Quistis? Nope, no, doesn't look like it. She's saying nice to see you again, so I'm assuming that wouldn't be our teacher, because I'm assuming our teacher would have seen us recently enough to where that comment wouldn't make any sense. Ah, there we go. So you can tell by the uniform. I'm guessing that's going to be our teacher. And, you know, for a school uniform, that isn't so bad. I mean, it's not the worst. And she seems a little bit exasperated with us, but, well, we'll see why that is. And apparently it's because she warned us that we might kill each other in battle. Well, you know, I guess that's what teachers are here to do. They're here to warn us, and we as teenagers, or I guess I'm not a teenager, but Squall as a teenager's job is just to ignore the teacher. But apparently we have an exam today, so that may have also been why she was warning us not to get into a battle. I mean, you probably don't want to get into an intense training battle when they're going to be going on to the field for an exam, but, you know, he'll be fine, hopefully. And apparently Quistis finds our pain funny. I don't see. Yeah, I don't think that's funny. Oh, I guess she's happy about our pain. Is she a masochist or something? I don't understand. Or she thinks she's beginning to understand her student a little bit. Well, I guess that's a reason to be happy. I mean, I don't know if I feel super happy when I get to understand my students any better, but I guess I'm not as engaged in my teaching as Quistis is. And Squall feels the need to defend himself, saying how complex he is, but I honestly feel like if you were really complex, you wouldn't need to say you were complex. People would just understand that. But I will say that I do support Squall here, and in his not wanting to tell his teacher his personal business. I mean, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of, I don't know. That's not. I feel like the teacher-student relationship is not really a personal relationship, unless it's affecting his studies or something. I don't really think he needs to discuss his personal life with his teacher. I mean, I know with my students, I don't go around asking my students, you know, all the details of their life. I just come in, teach them, they do their work, and then we all go home. You know, I mean, if they are struggling with class or something, maybe then they can tell me, oh, you know, my grandma's sick or whatever. But I don't really need just to hear that in general. That's just, but you know, that's just me. Maybe I'm not that good of a teacher. Maybe Quistis is who I should be modeling my teaching after. But apparently, Squall was holding up the entire class. He must be some type of student. I mean, he doesn't have to wear a uniform. Apparently, Cypher doesn't have to wear a uniform either. And, you know, Quistis was willing to delay class to come and get Squall. I mean, he must be quite the teacher. And apparently, the field exam was a surprise to everyone. It's like a pop field exam, which, you know, I don't know if that's the best way to go with the field exam. I mean, if this is going to be some type of difficult exam, do you really want people not knowing when it's coming? You know, I mean, she just said you want people to be in top condition, and Squall just got a massive gash in his head because of his training. Maybe if he knew there was a field exam today, he wouldn't have gone out and got into a major training fight. And I have to say, I will say this as well. I think Cypher gets a little bit of the raw end of the stick here, because I'm pretty sure Cypher didn't get away without any injuries either. And then I know Squall was just responding, but I mean, still, like, I think he's getting a little bit of a pass here. But we need to go and talk to Quistis. But before we go and talk to Quistis, let's go ahead and check out the little panel here. So what we want to do is we just want to turn on the power here, and then once we get into the menu, what we want to do is click on the tutorial. And in doing so, we figure out we have 2 GFs registered to us, and the GFs in this game are the summons. And we get to start off with 2, Quetzalcoatl, and we also get Shiva. So that's basically all we really need to do here. And this is just telling us that the tutorial can be accessed throughout the game, and we really have no need for it. So yeah, we'll just back out of there. And there's some other stuff here. You can learn more about garden and stuff. And there's actually some interesting stuff there, but, you know, I'm not going to bore you guys with all that. So, for now, we're just going to leave the panel here. If you guys are interested in seeing that stuff, just let me know, and maybe I'll come back later and do that. But for now, we'll just stop. And before we go down and talk to Quistis, I actually want to jump into the menu and change just a couple of things. First, I want to customize my controller there and just change that to, there we go. And then I want to change the ATB to active. So just like in any other Final Fantasy, you have the active time battle system. In this game, the active time battle doesn't really work that well. I mean, it tends to wait. Even when you're doing activities, the ATB bar doesn't keep going, so it's not as active as I would like. But you know, whatever, it's fine. And apparently, we have to go to the fire cavern. So this is a prereq. So we have an exam to be able to take the exam, and you know, this is another reason why you would think that it would make sense not to tell people in advance when the field exam is going to be, because if there's a prerequisite exam to take the actual exam, you know, maybe I would have planned to take my prereq earlier. I mean, because Squall's, I don't know, Squall's in a pretty bad position here. I guess he just got beat up this morning, and now he has to take a pre-exam, and then he has to take the actual exam. It's just, I feel like that would just be kind of exhausting, but apparently not. But what Quistis was basically saying there is, she was just reminding us about the study panel, and that's what I was looking at a second ago. So if you just started playing this game, this is, I suppose, how you were supposed to figure that out. But you know, they don't actually tell you that you can get the GFs there. So I feel like a lot of people probably would just ignore that. But you know, you can, even if you don't get the GFs there, you can get them at a later point. So you know, it's fine. And apparently this girl wasn't paying attention where she was running, and she just slammed into us. And she's in a hurry to get somewhere. Apparently, to get to the class we were just leaving, and the class he just had was homeroom. Well, first of all, that's a very short homeroom class, but I don't really understand the point of homeroom. Do you have like other subjects? Like, are there other classes? Like, I don't really understand. I'm not really quite sure what the class schedule is here at the garden, but I guess it's not that big of a deal. And apparently, the reason why she was late is that she was a transfer student. And apparently, despite how big this school is, they don't have any type of orientation program. So, I guess we'll show around. I like to think I'm a nice guy and always looking to help out other students. So, let's go ahead and take her down. I guess we're going to take her to the directory so we can point out where all the nice features are. And before we do that, we want to talk to this guy. And he has some cards for us, I guess. And yeah, in Final Fantasy VIII, there is a card game called Triad. It's basically just a mini game. It's actually pretty important. As a side quest, you can get some really good rewards from it. Really make yourself pretty powerful early in the game, and even later in the game, it's really useful for a number of reasons. But it's particularly in the game that we're going to be doing, because as I'll explain more in detail a little bit later, we're going to be avoiding leveling at all costs for the early portion of this game, or really for the majority of this game, until we're at a point where we can optimize our leveling to achieve the max stats goal that we want. But the card game is going to play a vital role in allowing us to keep ourselves up to speed without having to do any level grinding or having to fight any enemies. But we'll talk more about that when we get there. I wouldn't try playing any cards right now. The cards we have are pretty useless. I mean, I've heard that you can win with those cards. I've never tried it, but you know, I've also heard that it takes a lot of luck and a lot of time, and there's just really no point to doing it right now. So yeah, so now what we're doing, I guess, is we're showing this girl around, talking to her about the directory. And basically the way the directory works is, if you want to go to any area in the garden, you can get there quickly if you're here by simply coming to the dormitory, hitting the area that you want to go to, and then hitting X. And you know, for the most part, it's not super useful, I don't think, because when you need to get around in this garden, you're usually going to be going from one area to the next, and you can't use the directory in that case to go from, say, the cafeteria to the dormitory. You have to be right here at the central hub, basically, to be able to warp anywhere. And while you may use that occasionally, in the past, I've never really found any reason to need to use it. And In addition, later in the game, or you don't really spend that much time at Balamb Garden early on. And then later in the game, when you do start spending some more time here, you can't even use the directory anymore to be able to get where you need to get. So, I don't know. I mean, it's not really a problem. I don't know, it's a really minor gameplay feature. It's not even a really gameplay feature, so it's not an issue per se. It's just, I don't know, just not really something I think that's really important. I guess if you were a new player and you're worried about it, maybe, but not a big deal to me. Now, in terms of our own gameplay, what we'll be doing in terms of the areas around here is we're really not going to be spending a lot of time most of these areas. Most of these areas aren't really that useful. I mean, there are some characters or some NPCs in some of these areas, and I'll show off a couple cutscenes here in a second, but the only areas that you really spend any time in are the dormitory and the training center. It's the dormitory is where you rest to restore your health, and the training center is an area where you can go to fight some enemies to get some experience, and we'll be using that a little bit later for reasons I guess I'll discuss more when we get there, but yeah. But we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get there. And apparently she's already taking her prereq, so she's good to go. It's just, I guess Squall is the only student who's behind somehow, so yeah, we want to go ahead and get to the fire cavern pretty quickly here, but before we do that, there are just a couple little things that I want to show off. Nothing really important, but, you know, just a couple little minor cutscenes, and for the most part, I don't really get into a bunch of these scenes here, just because I don't think a lot of the NPCs in Final Fantasy are that interesting, and while I do like this game, I don't find this world to be so exciting that I find myself wanting to explore all of it. But, you know, when there's something particularly interesting, I'll try to show it off, and, you know, for example, the quad here, when you run around, when you first get here, this girl is kind of following you, and every time you stop, or she catches up with you, she talks to you, and apparently she's trying to recruit people for the garden executive committee, and this was actually the girl, as she said a second ago, that who we saw who ran into us and we were just showing around, and apparently she wants to start a band, and yeah, she wants to start a band and she wants people to join her committee. So I think she said if you're interested in joining, you want to go to the stage, so let's go ahead and do that. I don't think you actually, well, I know you don't actually end up actually playing an instrument with Squall, but you know, why not? Show my interest, and not really a big deal, but why not? Figured I'd show that off. So let's go ahead and head out here. There's, I think, 2 more things I want to show off before I head out to the fire cavern. So the first thing I want to do is head to the cafeteria, which is just a little bit north of here. And this is kind of what I was referring to earlier. Not that this is a major point, and probably shouldn't spend this much time talking about it, but you know, in terms of the directory, you know, in this case, I want to go from the cafeteria from the quad to the cafeteria, and a lot of times when I'm around the garden, I'm going from area to area like that, and so the directory isn't that useful, but I mean, again, not something really worth spending that much time on. But yeah, let's see if maybe we can get a hot dog or something here. You know, Squall was talking about the high demand for the hot dogs, or we could run into Wow. We could run into Cypher, and apparently his 2 friends, Fusion and Ragin, and apparently Fusion is yelling, or likes to yell, or doesn't believe in complete sentences, or something, and apparently she decides she's not very nice to Ragin there, and yeah, maybe I don't know, I don't have anything for you, Fusion. I was going to tell you that you should talk in complete sentences, but if you're going to yell at me like that, I don't know if I really want to deal with that. And apparently Cypher runs the disciplinary committee. I mean, I think he needs to discipline himself. I mean, he's going around, like, slashing people in the face. I mean, it seems like pretty bad discipline, but, you know, that's just me. I guess this school doesn't really care about physical violence, so whatever. And I find it funny that Squall just kind of ducks out of the way there. I mean, I know it's just like a graphical thing with the game, but it's funny that as Fusion is yelling rage, Squall's just running out of the way there. And, you if you talk to Raging again, then you get a little extra cutscene here. First of all, you get to see Fusion intimidating Raging some more, but then you also get to see this, and apparently this guy actually wants to get some hot dogs, and let's see if he gets lucky. Yeah, nope, not happening for him today. I guess that makes sense. I mean, if they're so popular, you figure there'd be a line if there were still any left, but apparently this guy hasn't picked up on the hint. He just keeps showing up late and can't ever seem to get those hot dogs, but maybe next time. Maybe next time. I will say this though, I do think that they'll have more hot dogs in the future. You know, I'm still in the middle of my economic studies here, but I'm pretty sure that's basic supply and demand there. If the demand is that high, I'm sure you'll find a way to get the supply to meet all these people's demand for the hot dogs. And apparently, running is a violation here or something, and so now they're also going to run after him. So they're going to speed to catch the speeder, and yeah. So I guess that means you're just going to ignore me as I'm like running myself. I mean, I was just running all over the place. So apparently, maybe it's how fast you run instead of whether or not you're running. Because he was running pretty fast. I mean, he looked like a little bit of a track star there. I mean, he even made me a little bit jealous of how fast he was running. And you know, this kid over here is running, but I'm guessing he's not running fast enough. So it must be that guy was just so speedy that it was just dangerous. I mean, it'd be like if Usain Bolt was just running around, you know. I mean, you can't have that. It's just too fast. People wouldn't be able to look out for him. Next thing you know, he'd just be bumping into people and knocking people over, and you know, it just wouldn't be very good. So the last thing I want to do before we head out is come here to the library, and there's one thing I want to pick up here. So let's go over to the bookshelf, and let's see. It should be right up. There we go. And yeah, you get the Occult Fan 1, which, you know, not a particularly important item. You can actually get it much later in the game, but, you know, it's there. So with all that done, I think that's everything worth seeing at this point. So yeah, let's go ahead and head towards the front gate, I guess. There's one other... Oh, actually, there is one other thing that I'd like to quickly show off here. Let's see here. Nope, not here. I think it's a little bit further ahead. It's actually a couple screens ahead. Ironically, this actually probably would have been a good time for me to use the directory, but, you know, such is life. Let's see. There it is. All right, so you can see that you see this little pink thing of energy here. This is what is called a draw point. So I'm going to jump in the menu here and give a quick explanation of what's going on. So unlike as you can see with Squall, this is a not a status screen, but you can see that he doesn't have any MP. So what is unique to Final Fantasy VIII is, unlike in previous games where you have MP and you maybe learn magic or equip materia or something along those lines, you have to draw magic spells from either draw points or enemies, and so you draw spell charges, a fixed number, and then you can cast those. In addition, those GFs that we got earlier, as opposed to previous games where you might equip them as materia or someone might learn them, it's more like Final Fantasy VI where you're able to equip GFs and then or summon spells and then move them around. And what these summons do are a couple of different things. First, they allow you to junction magic, those same spell charges that you can draw, to different statistics, such as your health or your strength. And everything on the screen right now is something that you can junction magic to. Different GFs allow you to junction magic to different statistics, and as we go along in the game, we'll get different GFs, which will allow us to junction magic to different stats. And each GF can also learn, or some GFs can learn, the ability to let you junction magic to other stats as well. So with the GFs I just junctioned, which was Shiva, Shiva allows me to junction magic to my spirit statistics. So I don't have any magic to junction there now, but if we wanted to, we could. The other thing that GFs allow you to do is they allow you to junction two different types of abilities. First, they're your command abilities, and every GF comes with the same 4 initially. Magic, which is just what you think it is, allows you to cast magic. Draw, which allows you to draw spells. And GF, which allows you to cast your summon spells. And Item, which allows you to use items. They also come, or most GFs also come with character abilities, and these abilities allow you to do a wide variety of things. For instance, a lot of character abilities allow you to boost your stats by a given percentage, such as HP plus 20%. So you can boost your HP by 20% by equipping the HP plus 20% ability. There are a lot of character abilities. We'll talk more about that as you go along. But in the beginning of this video, when I was talking about how we're going to max our stats only using junction abilities and magic, character abilities and magic junction to our statistics, this is what I was referring to. Now, one other thing I want to show off before we head out is the GFs themselves. And so, as I mentioned earlier, GFs have the ability to learn other abilities in addition to the ones that they come with initially. And the way you do this is by beating enemies, and when you beat enemies, you get experience, which allows you to level up your characters and also your GFs, but it also gives you AP, and AP is what you use to learn different abilities. And so for Quetzalcoatl, for instance, he comes with the ability for you to junction magic to your magic stat, but you can also learn the abilities, or learn HP J and Vitality J, which allow you to junction magic to your Vitality or HP statistics. And he also has the Thunder and Lightning Magic Refine ability, which allows you to junction spell charges for Thunder and Wind elemental attacks from various items that you win in battle or other ways you obtain them. But what I want to learn initially for Quetzalcoatl is the card ability. And what that does, it allows you to turn your enemies that you fight in battle into cards. And this is actually a very important ability for a couple reasons. One, obviously, as we're going to be playing the card game a bit, if you are following this guide, step by step, the card ability will allow you to get some pretty decent cards pretty early in the game. In addition, the card ability is very important because it allows you to fight enemies without gaining experience, but while still gaining AP. And so this is an ability that we're going to want to learn pretty quickly. Unfortunately, since we're not going to be trying to fight any enemies early on, we're only going to be able to get AP from boss encounters. And so we want to go ahead and prioritize card first so that we can learn this ability pretty quickly, and then we can go ahead and learn other stuff, or we can use that to learn other abilities for our GFs that we have now and the ones that we're going to get later sooner than we would be able to otherwise. So as for Shiva, it's the same thing, but for her, I'm going to have her start with the Strength Junction ability. So, well, actually, let's go with Ice Refine. I don't know. I've done this both ways before. Let's stick with Strength. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. I'm going to stick with the Strength junction ability there. Okay, so now we're gonna talk to Quistis there, and she wants to give us a quick tutorial about GFs, but I've already done that, so yeah, we're just gonna skip right past this. So yeah, we're gonna skip that, and then yep, everything is good. And if you didn't go to your classroom panel earlier, she would give you the GFs here, but I've already done that, so no need to worry about that. And yeah, now she's telling us we're gonna go to the fire cavern, and when we get there, she's gonna give us another tutorial. So yeah, let's go ahead and head out here. And now we're gonna be on the world map, but I think that's enough for this introduction video. The fire cavern's over there. There's another town if you follow this road to the, let me see on the map. It'd be to the west, so there's another town there. But we're not going to go there now, just because we'll be going there later. There's really no point in us going there now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to junction Quistis with the Quetzalcoatl and GF, give her the magic, GF, and draw abilities as well. And yeah, I think we're going to call it good for the video today. Next time what I'll be doing is I'll be going through the fire cavern and getting ready for our field exam. So this has been Marathon Hurdler, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time.